Hi, Clint Kuhns here with Anderson Business Advisors, and in this video we are going to discuss residential assisted living. All right, so you want to start your own RAL, or maybe you already have an RAL that you're considering taking to the next level, and you really haven't figured out the way in which to structure that business yet to really capitalize on the income and also to protect yourself. Well, with an RAL, of course, there's a lot of liability because you're dealing with individuals that are elderly, and you're having to bring in caregivers to take care of them. So not only are you responsible if the elderly people hurt themselves on the property, but you also have the risk of the caregivers doing something wrong. So you really need to structure this business, if you're going to go into the residential assisted living space, so that your assets are protected from the myriad of liabilities that exist from working on these types of investments. So take, for example, this. If you're going to do an RAL, what I recommend you first off start off with, if you own the properties, you create a limited liability company for your property. Well, there's two ways that people often run this. A, they own the property themselves, or B, they lease the property from a third party. All right, so either way, there's going to be a property involved because that's where you're going to place the elderly individuals. So if you own it, you're going to put it in an LLC. If you're leasing it from a third party, it doesn't matter. But what's key here is that you own the property. If you own the property yourself, in a limited liability company, you only have one property per LLC, and you do not conduct the RAL business through that limited liability company because it's going to subject that property to risk. So for your RAL business, what we'll do is we're going to create a separate entity over here. This is typically going to be an entity that's taxed as a corporation, so I'm just going to call it a corp. The corp is the RAL business. So the corp is going to go on over here, or the corp's going to run your residential assisted living, which means that this is where you're going to do all your advertising for your for the individuals that you're going to bring to your RAL business. So you'll be advertising through there. This will be, of course, whatever names are important, right, that you're going to advertise under. Whatever name you come up with, you want to make sure that it's available in your state so we can file the entity with that particular name. And you may want to trademark it as well if you plan to move outside of your state, because you don't want to be using Sunrise Residential Assisted Living in Arizona and then try to go into Georgia and its name's already been used by someone else. So it's a good idea to get it trademarked so that you own it. If you want to get a domain name, do a domain name search as well before you go about filing your name, so you have an internet domain with that same name available. Hey guys, I get a lot of great questions in my YouTube comments, and some of them oftentimes get a little deep or a little heavy. Let me tell you this, if you want a strategy session, go right into the notes below the video here, and there's a link where you can click on that link and you can get a strategy session with one of the advisors at Anderson. Right now we can set it up, have you talking with somebody within a day about your individual situation to get all of your questions answered. It's the best way to know what you should be doing going forwards with your structures. It's free. Take advantage of it right now. So this is the company that the elderly people will contract with. It's the company of which the caregivers are going to be handled. So all the employees that you use will fall under this company right here. The people that are going to be providing the care to those individuals that are coming in and renting the rooms from you. Now, as I stated, they're renting the room. So where are the rooms coming from? Well, it's coming from this LLC. So in order to get this house brought into the LLC, what we'll do is we'll enter in here to what's referred to as a master lease. Or actually better yet, master lease or lease agreement. All right, so agreement. So this lease agreement basically states that this corporation is leasing this property from this liability company to provide the housing for these individuals over here that'll be coming to your business. The reason we're doing that is so that if any liability happens over on this side with the business itself, let's say you have a rogue caregiver that's not doing their duty, they're going in, they're not taking care of the elderly individuals like they should be, and people start developing sores, maybe people fall down because the floors are wet, because they weren't adequately dried by the maintenance individuals that are in this property here, then the business is going to get sued. The last thing we want to do is have the real estate inside of the business. That's why it's key you need to separate out the activity from where the assets are. Because otherwise you could lose your property in a lawsuit that hits this REL business. If the REL business goes down, you may lose this right here, but you definitely are not going to lose that. And that, if you're buying the property, is not what we want to do, because we could always start a new REL over here, right? And then enter into another lease agreement for that property right there in that LLC that we've set up. And as you build it out, you're just going to continue to create LLCs. So let's say we bring another property online now in a different location. Again, same scenario here, lease agreement between the two. And so that's how you would keep doing it. This is the public face of your REL business. It's that corporation that you set up. That's where you're going to hire all your employees. These entities right here, of course, you'd want those owned by a Wyoming LLC to give yourself anonymity so that the people that deal with this business do not know, if they try to look it up online, that you actually own these properties. The LLCs here point down to the Wyoming LLC, and it gives you some anonymity. I never like to tie back the fact that I own these LLCs and they're in business with this residential assisted living facility, because if something did happen and there's an attorney on the other end, they're just going to be more aggressive in pursuing you. So with RELs, make sure you're splitting up the property from the business, run the business through a corporation. That's where you hire all your employees and go out there and make some money. My name is Clint Coons with Anderson Business Advisors.